Most people live their entire lives never following their dreams, not because they don't have the talent or the passion, but because they fall into a mental trap I call survival mode. It's the number one reason people stay stuck, too focused on just getting by to see the opportunities around them. In this video, I'll show you how to avoid the mistake that keeps so many people from living the life they want and how to finally take control of your future. Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Kmo, and on this channel, we discuss mindset, self-mastery with a touch of musical and creative influences sprinkled in here and there. So welcome. Most people don't get the life they want, not because they don't have the talent, the opportunity, or it even being a possibility. In my experience, they don't get the life they want because they're trapped in a cycle, a mentality, and a mindset. It's a cycle where they're focused on surviving, where there's constant pressure and stress. And I'm talking about the kind of stress that makes it hard for you to be the best version of you, to make the best decisions for your future, and to think clearly without influence. Look, this used to be me not too long ago. If this sounds familiar to you or someone you know, I'd like to share with you how this happened to me and the steps that I took to break free of this cycle. I like to define survival mode as a prolonged state, condition, or situation that inhibits your ability to think freely or creatively. I think the major conditions that create survival mode are typically including a couple factors: financial struggle, the lack of basic necessities, an unsafe environment, and or emotional instability due to drugs, mental illness, trauma, things like that. While you're in survival mode, your instinct is to survive, not thrive. You make decisions that may be short-term solutions, but they have long-term ramifications. Some very common examples of this would include things like picking a career solely based off of money, or getting into debt traps like credit cards, staying in an abusive situation, and addictions of many, many different kinds. Look, survival mode is meant to keep you safe, to keep you alive, and to get you through. It has its purpose, but it's not designed for you to thrive. So look, my story begins in 7th grade. I began to make music, and I'll tell you, the best part of making music is seeing something in your mind come to life. But by the time high school graduation rolled around, those college pressures were in full throttle. I really enjoyed making music, but I didn't really believe that I could make a career out of it. So I chose mechanical engineering instead. Now look, lucky roll of the dice for me. I enjoy being an engineer, but my number one regret has always been not taking music more seriously. Those college years were rough, and I mean really rough. I'm talking lack of basic necessities, living check to check. It was only once I reached a point of financial stability after school where I had created a little bit of breathing room, room to be, was I able to see a version of me without limitation. And it all started with a mindset shift, believing that I could do it. So, how did I escape survival mode? I think the ingredients for success are fairly consistent. Everything starts with a desire for something different. People, they usually got that one covered. The next thing is belief. You have to believe that it's even possible for you. Nothing else matters if you don't believe that you can do it. What happens after that usually depends on whether your cause is financial, environmental, or emotional. I'll speak to the financial one since it's the one that I have actual experience with, but I will say this: if it's your environment, the biggest priority is to get somewhere safe and stable. If it's emotional, you may want to seek out a professional or someone you trust. In either case, The best advice usually comes from someone who's been there or someone who has helped someone through it firsthand. So if your cause is financial, learn as much as you can about personal finance. I started with Investopedia and Yahoo Finance, but nowadays you have options like ChatGPT and YouTube. I would say the single-handedly most important thing for me was creating and following a budget. Look, budgeting gave me control. It stopped the bleeding and it gave me a plan. Sticking to my budget helped me develop discipline and it improved my capacity for delayed gratification. It also allowed me to get a picture of where I was at and the progress that I was making. Seeing the progress built up my confidence and it made that belief even stronger. Now look, it may sound like all of this will come at once. For some, it'll be quick. Others, not so much. For me, I'll be honest, it took a while. There were moments of frustration and impatience, for sure. But looking back, deep down, I knew I had no choice. Failure wasn't something that I could accept, and I intuitively knew that this was something that I was gonna figure out. Survival mode for me was rooted in finances, and I got out of it with what I just outlined. But once I was out and I had time to reflect, I felt empowered. It was my evidence that if I could do this, what else could I do? That financial study eventually made me stumble into books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Think and Grow Rich. Those books inspired motivation, a motivational binge of sort from Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins and Eric Thomas and Gary Vee. Now, at the time, I didn't realize it, but it's clear to me now that desire plus belief plus mindset plus action, that combination definitely gets you out of survival mode. Since I didn't know the ingredients for success, I stumbled my way through. The importance of desire, belief, and mindset wasn't obvious to me until after I was already out of survival mode. Action is the key to making it all work. And if you only did the actionable steps, you still get out. But desire, belief, and mindset gets you there quicker and with more confidence when things inevitably switch up on you. So, what are some common struggles and solutions? Look, survival mode can be crippling, but everyone is capable of overcoming it regardless of the cause. Knowing what I know now, I'd suggest the following key actions for overcoming survival mode, and these key actions can be applied to many other challenges as well. Key action number 1 is self-discovery. Define what success looks like for you. Tune out all of the external noise. Identify any limiting beliefs you may have. Think about your dreams and desires. What do you want? And I mean, what do you really want? Like if money wasn't an object or you had no responsibilities. Now think about why you want it. Do you want it for you or are you doing it for someone else, like your family or your children? Take these questions seriously. Write them out. Reflect and revisit them from time to time to make sure that it's something that you still want. Key action number 2 is challenging yourself. My mother always told me to keep an open mind. What better way to challenge yourself than to challenge the beliefs that you have? See things from a different perspective. Play God's advocate. Constantly look for new ways to learn and improve. Look for ways to use what you already know differently. And please try to deviate from routines and try new routines from time to time. Do something that you're scared of, within reason, of course. Get a little uncomfortable. Put yourself in new environments and situations. And practice, practice, practice. We know to practice the physical things, but we seldom put that same effort on the non-tangible things. Those pay great dividends as well. Be disciplined and be determined. It wouldn't be a challenge if it was easy. Work on your willpower and you will put together a string of accomplishments that you can use for leverage later. Key action number 3 is to seek experiences. Experience can be one of the best teachers. It can also help unlock self-discovery and challenge you. Nothing can quite beat what you learn from just doing the thing. Travel to new places, living in a new city, interacting with a different culture or religion. These things really help with keeping an open mind, like we talked about earlier. This doesn't always have to be something exotic either. You'll be surprised with what experiences could be found within 100 miles of where you are now. There is an abundance of opportunity all around you. You just have to train yourself to see it. And while you're racking up these experiences, don't compare yourself to others. The more you're exposed to, the more you'll see that it's not apples to apples. There is an infinite, and I mean infinite, number of variables between you and everyone else. Focus on your journey, but you can still be considerate of the lessons that you can learn from others. Key action number 4 is endure adversity. You'll have your good days and bad days. Ask for help when you're stuck. Find a mentor or reach out to a professional. Work through it and pivot when necessary. I've always found that when things get hard, to focus on the one small thing that I can do to take a step forward. I've also realized that sometimes you got it and sometimes you don't. And that leads me to key action number 5. Key action number 5 is emotional awareness. Are you afraid? Are you afraid of failure? Don't be. Be proud of your attempts and look for the lessons. You won't improve without the lessons that you learn from the attempts you take. Feeling overwhelmed? Start with the smallest actionable step, like we mentioned before. If you're confused and frustrated, seek clarity by slowing down and resting. No need to keep shoving a round peg into a square hole. Key action number 6 is connection. Connect with your higher self, your true self. Align with your core values. How does your actions foster meaning for yourself and for others, for your community, and for your family? If you believe in a higher power, reconnect and lean into those beliefs. Tap into those limitless energy sources. And remember, the world is your oyster. So, here is my challenge to you. Take a moment and reflect on your life. Are you in survival mode? If so, think about what's keeping you stuck. And are you ready to do something about it? If you are, take control and take one step, one action, and then build on it. Maybe it's coming up with a budget or writing out your desires. Maybe it's examining your beliefs or looking for assistance from someone who's been where you're trying to go. Look, breaking out of survival mode isn't easy, but it is definitely possible. And once you do, you'll gain a new sense of clarity, freedom, and confidence to go after the things you desire most, no matter how big they may seem. Most importantly, it's never too late to start. And I believe you already have everything you need within you to make it happen. Please like and share this video if you've found what we talked about helpful today. Consider subscribing if you're in the mindset, self-mastery, and personal growth. Like I said, with a touch of creative and musical influence. And I think that's all I have for you guys today. I wish you well, and y'all know the vibes. Peace and love. Yurt.